Baby shark.
Hey,
What?
stop. This is wrong show. This is Katella Talks.
Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to Katella Talks. We are so excited to be hosting this annual event in the Royal Crown Theater.
Whether you are here in person or online via live stream, we're so glad you could join us. My name is Monique Garcia.
And I'm Evelyn Aguilar Ramos and we'll be your host today.
During this event, you will see several student speeches and documentaries on a variety of topics that were selected by our presenters.
As a cornerstone to our vision statement, Katella staff and students recognize the need to raise young voices in an effort to make this world a more informed and inclusive place.
Now let's begin our presentations. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Today, we are hosting Katella Talks. This event showcases students from various grade levels presenting an issue that is affecting their community.
These talks are student-driven, student-led, and student-produced. Students choose topics that are personal and that they are passionate about. They choose which student presentation should be showcased, and they are shooting and editing each presentation in a TED Talk format.
In addition, many students created documentaries about their topic. With film and digital arts being Katella's unique pathway, we encourage our students to find creative alternatives to demonstrating their knowledge.
We hope these projects lead to exciting conversations, curiosity, skepticism, openness, critical thinking, and action.
And now, let's begin.
It's my pleasure to introduce our first presenters from the class of 2026, Dina and Cynthia Rodriguez.
Did you know special education enrollment has dropped by 3%? Or did you know special education teachers have been teaching double the rate to a general teacher?
This issue is so critical because it aims to be the outcome of special education enrollment to make it easy for both parents and children to get the proper education. In the United States alone, 7.5 million students ages 3 to 21 have received special education services in the past year. A school in Garden Grove that opened to the public that specializes in special education is overcharging what should be considered free education, despite numerous laws that require all students with disabilities to have access to free appropriate education. According to recent data, the number of children with special needs is continuing to rise. Schools all across the board should be able to provide the resources needed to properly accommodate all their students.
This Katella Talk is very near and dear and important to me because I have a nephew named Jeremiah. He is 4 years old and has a rare genetic disorder called Angelman syndrome. It is an intellectual disability that affects the way his brain communicates with the rest of his body and also affects his walking and balancing and results of seizures and little to no speech. Jeremiah is currently attending a public elementary school but is having to pay to be provided with the proper education he needs. This is wrong. Why are parents having to pay for their child to get the proper education they need, and let alone a school that provides expensive special education with little to no access with one-on-one aids? Right now in our district, we have a school that specializes in special education, and that is Hope High School. Hope is currently being relocated to Orangeview Junior High, and this gives Hope the opportunity and the chance to improve in their sidewalks and make them ADA compliant.
A way we would solve this issue is by writing a letter to the Orange County Education Board with signatures of our parent petition. Our goal is to add more schools for children with special needs, as well as adding more courses in schools to provide the resources needed. Therefore, we should encourage each other to sign the petition, as well as sharing it with parents of children with special needs. Let's not just think about ourselves, but about the people's lives we can make easier. Choose equity over equality. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. By spreading awareness, we're not only showing that we care, but that we want to make a difference.
The product we are trying to introduce is a funding marketplace here in Katella's parking lot where all proceeds will be donated. We would have several tents which would consist of a resource and a funding tent. We would also have more tents which would consist more information about autism, ADHD, and ADD because that is more common in youth today, severe disabilities such as cerebral palsy, hard of hearing, and blindness. Also uncommon to rare syndrome/disorders. Expanding special education services affects more than 7.5 million children in our country today. Again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to our thoughts in our TED Talk. My name is Dina Rodriguez.
My name is Cynthia Rodriguez.
The process that led to these talks started with teachers using the project-based learning model as a foundation, which included 4 steps: driving question, research, critical friends protocol, and gallery walks or presentation.
But Katella Talks aren't the only way that students have demonstrated civic action, student voice, and community engagement. Let's take a look at some of the other projects that students have participated in.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Naila Ramos, and I am the Student Ambassador and President of RSVP. RSVP Summits are led by students that facilitate classes to get students' opinions and concerns about our school. I take in that data, organize it, and we meet with admin and see some solutions we can come up with. According to last year's data, our water filtrations have been installed in the math building and soon to come in the cafeteria and in the main gym.
Today's activity is basically about the 5th graders learning about the water cycle. They're going to be playing like a game and they're going to be doing vocabulary about it. They're going to turn into a water droplet and they're going to move throughout the different parts of the water cycle. We had to do this activity during class and we had to figure out how we wanted to do it. We got into our lab stations and we brainstormed on ideas on how to do it, and then we just voted as a class in the end. We ended up choosing a game-like style so the 5th graders could have fun. Something I think that's really cool is just the kids learning about what the water cycle is. They don't really understand it unless they're hands-on. I learned that it's pretty hard just prepping everything and making sure everyone's in the right place. It's stressful, but it's helps me get organized and ready if I want to be a teacher or anything in the future. It'll help me with that.
We are conducting a mock election on the day of the actual United States general election. We're allowing our students to kind of participate in this mock election so they can get the experience of going through the polls. In addition to that, we have student pollsters who are asking our students additional poll questions, and we'll be reaching out to our elected officials, sharing that information, that data that we collect.
You know, I think this is beyond just an activity. I think this is a real life lesson for our students to really learn about the democratic process and how it works. You know, we always talk about student voice and choice here at Katella and within our district, but what better way to demonstrate it than to allow them to be a part of this process.
We really value civic engagement, and not only civic engagement, but civic action. We want our students to be a part of government, to be immersed in it, and to really feel like their voice matters.
Please welcome our next presenter from the class of 2027, Kiara Lopez.
Have you ever wondered how many people struggle with drug and alcohol abuse? Today I want to talk to you about this pressing issue. The reason this topic is so important to me is because many young teenagers and adults are letting drugs and alcohol take over their lives, leaving them trapped with addictions they cannot control. The consequences to this can be very devastating, leading to antisocial behavior, long-term personality changes, social problems, and severe health damage. Drug and alcohol abuse refers to the use of harmful substances affecting not just the individual, but those around them. As someone who suffered seeing their mom's addiction, as someone who witnessed her mom's addiction take over her life, I feel compelled and I want to spread awareness. My mom's addiction took over her life and it stopped her from becoming the mother I needed. Growing up, I've never had a mom present, and at one point, my mom was living on the streets, leaving my siblings and me under the care of my grandma. Thankfully, she found the help she needed and has been clean for about 3 years. Drug and alcohol abuse affects entire families. According to BetterHealth.org, 75% of high school students are at risk of addiction, often turning to these substances to cope with depression or anxiety. Peer pressure arises, which makes it harder for them to say no, which leads them to wonder, will it hurt to just try one? About 12% of teens are addicted to alcohol and 8.6 engage in binge drinking, increasing the risk of dependence. increasing the risk of dependence. Addiction means relying on a substance despite the harmful consequences. To fight this, we must be stricter about drug and alcohol sales, and we must have more open discussions about the risks at school. As students, we must push for action, and we should minimize drug and alcohol sales to save lives. Over 97,600 people die from substance abuse each year, with half of them being high school students. Imagine a school where there's no more kids getting suspended for getting caught smoking in the restroom or worse, overdosing. This needs to have a stop to it, but we cannot do it alone. We need the help of our communities, our friends, our peers, and our families. Let's stand together and fight addiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiara. This year, students also created short documentaries based on their Katella talks, so please welcome our first documentary, Gang Violence.
Last night ended in a chaotic scene with 2 men dead following a brawl that broke out in the parking structure.
Suspect on the run following a deadly shooting in Anaheim. The gunfire broke out around 7 last night at an apartment complex on East Clifton Avenue. The victim died at the scene.
Trying to track down the killer of a 17-year-old boy in Anaheim. Officials believe the teen is an innocent victim of gang violence. The shooting happened last Friday night on North Acacia Street.
Hello, my name is Brandon. And through our documentary, we are trying to present on how we can break the cycle of gang violence in our neighborhoods and our communities.
First, we have to define what gang violence is. I define gang violence as people who are in gangs that hurt others. This can be hurting someone they don't like, a rival gang member, or hurting someone or robbing someone for their belongings.
This violence doesn't just come in that form. It also comes in many ways, such as stabbings, drive-bys, shootings, or even robbing someone of their belongings. With all this in mind, you might be wondering, why do people even join gangs in the first place?
Well, according to the city of Annapolis, many kids join gangs because of broken households, problems with money, they have family members in gangs already, or they have problems with their parents, and the list goes on. The history of gangs was that they were made to protect each other from discrimination, so they could sense a feeling of community or belonging amongst each other.
Gangs had more of a purpose back then, but nowadays it feels like, or seems like, kids are joining gangs to be feared or to feel some sort of power, or maybe to even have a title over their name. It's a very sad reality because most of the people who join gangs don't even know the origin of why they hate another gang, which leads them to get in trouble with the law or possibly even take another man's life for reasons that have nothing to do with them. I can still remember this saying all the way back from when I was a little kid. And the saying goes, if you are in a gang, you got one of two outcomes. Either one, you'll end up in jail, or two, you'll end up worse, you'll end up dead.
This wasn't a lie either, because according to the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, 68% of all inmates are reported to be a part of a gang or affiliated with one. A quote from the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry is that the worst effect of gang membership is the exposure to violence. Gang members may also be pressured to commit a crime to become part of the gang. Consequences of gang membership may include exposure to drugs and alcohol, age-inappropriate sexual behavior, difficulties to finding a job due to a lack of skill and education, removal from one's family, imprisonment, and even death.
If these reasons aren't enough to convince you, then let my dad tell you what he's witnessed growing up in a gang-infested neighborhood.
It affected me bullying, going to school, coming from school, before heading home, entering into the neighborhood. I didn't know much of friends, and that makes me real scared. A lot of drive-bys, shootouts. Couldn't go, not even to the park. It was so scary, so you gotta think twice to go out when the sun goes down. So it's like a survival. Every car that you saw during the night driving by the neighborhood, you were not sure if it was a friend or another members of the gang from other neighborhoods. A friend of mine died. So, and it feels real bad because I spent basically 3 years of high school with him. So he was part of a gang, which I wasn't, but still he was my friend. So we had a really good friendship. Life for me, since my friend died, changed a lot.
We need your help. This is a call to action. We need your help so we can stop more bloodshed from happening in our communities and around us. What we can do is educate more people on this topic. I believe that if we're able to educate people more on this, and that's one step closer, because I believe that knowledge is power, and if we know more, we're able to solve the problem efficiently. One of the most important things that we can do to stop this from the source is to simply be there for the kids, specifically kids who are in bad neighborhoods and communities, because they are the ones that are going to be the most vulnerable, and we can always be there to help the kids the most. Mentorship programs will be a great solution because kids are like sponges. They absorb everything around them, and they are very easily influenced by the things that they see in their neighborhood and their community.
If we give them a great role model that they can look up to, they can be influenced in a positive way that will help them in life. Lastly, we need to support families that live in bad neighborhoods for them to do their job as parents to make sure their kids have everything they need for them to raise their children without them needing to resort to gangs to survive.
Thank you so much for watching.
Please welcome our next presenter from the class of 2026, Michael Snell.
Appreciate it. Hold on. All right. Let me tell you a story. Growing up, I often found myself in doctor's offices. Not for me, but for my grandmother. Her thick accent made it difficult for the doctors to understand what she was saying. So in a way, I'll move this over. So in a way, I sort of became her makeshift translator. But I struggled to relay those complex medical terms to her a lot. This experience, though, is not just unique to my family. Many Hispanic families all throughout the US face similar barriers, especially when it comes to seeking mental health support. Sorry, hold on, let me read this again. Despite growing awareness within the US, all sorts of families continue to struggle with this. You might ask why. People say that cultural stigmas, language barriers, or even systemic inequalities are all factors in why this is the case. I believe that cultural stigmas is probably the larger of the three. Growing up in a Hispanic household, why does it keep going down? It feels like it's going down. If you're often taught that seeking any sign of support is a sign of weakness. You hear phrases like "está loco," he's crazy. This mentality discourages people from sharing their true emotions and strong-arms them into suppressing them. And with 17% of Hispanics in the US living in poverty, therapy or counseling is seen as some sort of unnecessary expense, just throwing money at the wind. And then there's the idea of language barriers. Okay, so this is lowering. Hold it. And then there's the idea of language barriers. A severe lack in bilingual mental health professionals all across the US leaves so many people without proper care. Families like mine, kids are forced to translate from a young age. I'm trying to remember, hold on. Kids are forced to translate from a very young age, severing, even deepening the gap between real people and the help that they deserve. The impact of this is that only 19% of Hispanics all across the US receive any form of mental health care. That is a number significantly lower than any other race group in the US by margins. Untreated conditions like depression and anxiety strain families, affect work productivity, and even worsen your physical health. This is not an individual problem. This is a generational cycle. I think that the way that we fix this, first, we need more affordable and more accessible mental health resources. Organizations like the Youth Collaborative Mental Health Survey prove that outreach efforts make a huge difference in people receiving care. Next, we have to challenge the stigma. We have to face the machismo head on. By acknowledging that mental health is not a weakness and that it is a strength, we can begin to rewrite our own narrative. This issue is not just about statistics. It is about our parents. It is about our siblings, our friends, our familia. The time to act is not just now. It was yesterday. It is tomorrow. It is every day, here and thereafter. Mental health is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Please welcome our second documentary of the day, Gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are studies showing that performing a gratitude practice can lead to a pervasive, a long-lasting impact on subjective well-being. People report feeling happier, more meaning, joy, even awe for their life.
But gratitude's an excellent practice, man. Yeah. It's the opposite of arrogance and resentment. I think it's a great thing to become an expert at.
To me, gratitude means just being thankful and grateful, and I practice it in my day-to-day life.
I am grateful for the things in my life that I guess I shouldn't take for granted because, just because you have them in your life doesn't mean that they're a guarantee.
Gratitude is appreciation for what you have. A lot of people don't have a lot of things in life, so the small things that you do have in life that we overlook, like food, water, a house over your head, clothes on your back, things like that, all things you show gratitude for.
Great moment. I think a lot of people, they are who they practice to be. So if you practice gratitude, then you'll be grateful. If you practice like against all odds, opening your heart when no one else will, that's supernatural. And it gets easier to do it in situations that require less effort to do it.
First off, I'd like to thank God for changing my life and let me really realize what life is all about.
Gratitude has physically and mentally made a difference in my life because I can wake up every morning and be thankful that I am surrounded by people, and mentally that's the way I feel gratitude is for me.
Hoy quiero darle la gracia por estos 45 días.
My mom is 84 years old, and she's at home watching. Mom, I just want an Oscar.
I really just want to thank my family, my mom, my brother, Spencer, my dad, my husband, Dave. I love you so much.
I think gratitude is a very subjective topic, to be honest. A lot of people think that gratitude is just something you can express or show. But I think that if you live and practice gratitude, it can affect you in ways that you didn't even think it could.
I think being grateful is appreciating the things that you have and being able to go up and tell somebody like, oh, like I'm grateful to have you in my life. And, yeah.
What do you think being grateful means?
I think being grateful means telling people that you appreciate them and then you're there for them with anything.
How do you guys think that being grateful can affect your mental and physical health?
As high school students, we're constantly getting stressed about school, grades, college, and our soon-to-be adulthood. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity and forget about the good things. for gratitude is powerful. It can shift our focus from what's going wrong to what's going right. It can help us appreciate the people and the things in our lives that make it worth living. For me, gratitude is about taking a step back and realizing that there's so much more to be thankful for. It's about appreciating my family and my friends and the people that love me. It's about being thankful for the opportunities I have, like education and other things of that sort. Practicing gratitude can be as simple as writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day, or sharing what you're grateful for with a friend or a family member. So let's make a conscious effort to practice gratitude. Let's take the time to appreciate the good things we have in our lives and thank the people who matter the most. Trust me, it'll make a difference.
Please welcome our last presenter from the class of 2027, Valeria Arroyo.
Imagine a world where a parent's biggest worry is whether their child remembered their lunch, not whether they'll arrive back home from school safe and sound. Picture a classroom where the sound of laughter is never drowned out by the sound of gunfire. Why is this still a dream in America? Why do we allow our schools to become a place of trauma and terror instead of safe havens? Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Valeria Arroyo, and today I'm going to talk to you about school shootings and why this is such an important topic, not only to our community here at Katella High School, but for all communities across our country. The reason that this is such an important issue is because gun violence is now the leading cause of death among children and teenagers in America. SandyHookPromise.org says that 1 out of every 10 deaths due to gun violence involves a child under the age of 19. Not to mention, 12 children die every day due to gun violence in the United States, while another 32 are shot and severely injured. According to an article by CNN, gun violence incidences on school campuses saw a significant decline in 2020 when schools temporarily closed due to the global pandemic we know as COVID-19. However, when schools reopened in 2021, the number of school shootings skyrocketed, with a total of 249 in 2021, 303 in 2022, 38 in 2023, and 39 just last year in 2024. In just 4 years, that comes to a total of 629 school shootings. Stanford researchers found that in just 2 years, over 100,000 American children and teenagers attended a school where a shooting occurred. Additionally, they highlighted that students who experience a school shooting are more likely to end up being on antidepressant medications and have a higher probability of developing a post-traumatic stress disorder due to the trauma that they endured. So, what can we do? One step toward improving our school safety is installing metal detectors at school entrances to prevent students from sneaking firearms and other dangerous weapons onto campuses. However, the most important change is implementing stricter gun laws. This includes conducting thorough background checks before being able to purchase a firearm, raising the legal age to purchase a firearm, and enforcing secure storage laws, which ensures firearms are locked away and inaccessible to children and youth. I urge you to take action by signing petitions that push for stronger gun laws, to prevent further gun violence on school campuses. Another key action is to prioritize your children's mental health. Many school shooters have been driven to violence due to bullying, humiliation, and severe mental health struggles, such as depression and suicidality. With that being said, I shouldn't have to practice hiding under my desk. I shouldn't have to wonder if my school could be next. Yet this is the reality my generation faces every single day. If we don't act now, how many more names will be etched into memorials instead of yearbooks? How many more empty chairs at dinner tables will it take before we say enough is enough? Today, I ask you, be the change. Vote up and speak and vote for policies that protect your community. Vote for safer schools, stronger mental health support, and responsible gun laws. Again, my name is Valeria Arroyo, and thank you so much for listening.
I think the 5C that I used the most was creativity. I went into this project not knowing a lot about it, and I feel like I use my creative side.
A lot of communication. I got a lot of my research and my information from asking people, asking them like truly what they thought and how they grew up, and I use that to sort of form my speech.
Critical thinking, because it helped me see deportation in a different perspective. It was me putting myself in people's shoes as well.
Collaboration, just because we're a duo, so during the process we had to split up the work and really be on each other to make sure that work got completed and that we memorized our speech.
La comunicación, me comuniqué tanto con mis compañeros como con maestros para conseguir la información correcta y brindar un cambio positivo a mi comunidad.
Probably collaboration, because I had to work with my partner Dina to find the accurate information.
Para mí una de las 5 Cs más importantes fue la colaboración, ya que gracias a eso pude encontrar y investigar historias sobre algunos de mis compañeros y la discriminación en los países.
Creative thinking, because I had to think about a problem that many people go through. I had to think about a struggle that everybody faces, not only me.
Critical thinking, because I had to research and think outside of the box.
Yo creo que la 5C más importante que usamos fue la comunicación y el trabajo en equipo. Todos, el grupo, hicimos lluvia de ideas, trabajamos juntos, compartimos lo que queríamos.
We hope you found these presentations to be informative, enlightening, and meaningful.
All our presentations will be available online after today, so be sure to check Katella High School's YouTube channel and feel free to share with friends and family.
Before we go, we have a few people we'd like to thank for making this event possible. First, thank you to the amazing teachers who helped kickstart this event in their classrooms.
Thank you to Mr. Kazaruni for helping our students perfect their speeches, and to our student film crew who shot and produced our videos and live stream.
Thank you to Katella High School administration, district officials, and parents for your support.
Lastly, the presentations you saw today are only a fraction of the amazing projects from our student body.
We want to give a huge thank you to all students who prepared a Katella Talks presentation or documentary. We appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you, Monique, for being my co-host today.
And thank you, Evelyn, for being my co-host today.
And finally, thank you to all our presenters for their courage, ideas, and inspiration.
Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for joining us.